the 65-year-old Model 70 Powermatic Table Saw, 12-inch table saw. Just to give you an example, this is a 12-inch blade, and this is a 10-inch. You can see it's a bit bigger, but the nice thing is this will also run 10-inch blades as long as they have a 1-inch arbor, because it's a big arbor in this thing. But anyway, enough about that. My fence system finally came in, and I actually have already put it on the saw, but when I did, I didn't put my table in over here. And so I decided to take it all back off and show you how all this goes on. The thing is that this is a Delta Unisaw fence, and so the bolt holes don't line up on this one. So I actually had to drill new bolt holes and tap them, and then everything worked out just fine. I've actually ripped a few pieces on it, and it's worked out. So got a table made to go in over here, and I'm going to stick it back on. But first, I want to show you kind of what I had to go through to get this thing put back together. All right? Look out, Doc. Damn dog's always underfoot. Okay, so this is, I've taken the motor housing off. It's sitting over here on the floor. But as you can see, and I've got a light here to kind of show you, but none of this stuff was attached. The arbor was not attached. I had to reconnect that U-joint right there. This wasn't connected. It bolts onto this thing. This thing was attached to the tabletop, but that was it. And then the arbor pivots, let me get the light up there. You can see the arbor pivot, well, kind of, it's in the shadows there. There we go. That was completely off of there too. So that's where the arbor pivot on that was the first thing to get connected. And then it was the side to side, the tilt, which is this section right here. And then I reattached that, and I've already had it break once, and so I've reattached it again with using a screw and 2 pins instead of 4 pins, because they were like 3/8 long, and the hole going where the bolt is here now had wallered out to where the pins wouldn't stay in. So I put a bolt through there and solved that problem. And then, of course, the motor is not the original motor. This is a Balder 1.5 horsepower 220. I wired it for 220. It was funny because I first brought the table saw into the shop and we got all excited. We plugged it in and turned it on, and the blade was rolling backwards, and I was like, oh no. And I wasn't sure this motor could be reversed. So a little bit of YouTubing, and guess what? I found a guy that had exactly the same motor, and he was reversing it. So I was able to redo the wiring and get it going the right direction. So anyway, yeah, I had to put all this stuff back together. And you'll notice the wood plate here. The distance between the foot here and the center of the arbor is like 7/8 of an inch different than the old motor, so the belts wouldn't fit before when I bolted it directly to it. So I had to put this plate in there to boost it out, but it worked, so I'm in good shape. So anyway, yeah, I had to do all that. Then the switch that was in here was for the 3-phase. I completely gutted this box. Now it's just a junction box where I've tied wires together. And then I put in a new switch that I ordered online. My ground is coming off. I need to fix that. Ha! Anyway, but I put the new switch on there, and everything works. We're in good shape. And here's your proof. Make sure my blade's not up. It's not good. Now, it does need new belts, admittedly. I'm going to have to get those eventually, because these are going to break pretty soon, I'm sure. I'm probably just going to make little link belts for them, because they're really small belts. I don't even know if they're going to be available locally. I did add a tin output for the dust collector, so this could be put on there, and then I just screwed it because I didn't have a fitting for it, but that's all right. It's doing the job. As you can see, there's not a whole lot of dust in there, a little bit. So yeah, let's switch back to the big camera, and we'll get this fence put on. All right, here we go. So when I originally put it on the first time, I actually left little tick marks here where the top of the rail goes, so I can actually put this on without having to use the tool. But I'll show you how the tool works just in case you're wondering. So this tool that comes with the rail, you hook it on there and you bump it to the top of that, and you're in the right position. And you do that somewhere near your screw. And then we're going to come over here. Whoop, tip lift. I was tipless. And that is all the more screws I could do because I didn't have, like, here it's solid solid cast iron all the way through, and here it's right on the seam. So I only got 3 screws, but in actuality you're going to see that this actually does nothing but hold the table for me. Now over here on this side, I got a few more screws. I got 4 instead of 3. But my holes were like falling again right on the joint between these two, so it's solid cast iron. And then there was one that fell, where was it? It was another solid cast iron spot that I couldn't use, so anyways. Nope, wrong way. Yep, I was the right way. I was just using the wrong hole. There we go. Runaway screw. And then on this side, you want it to touch down here at the bottom, like that. So, I better do this end too. Oh, it's fine. All right, so those are on. Then I have to put on the table before I put this on, because otherwise I won't be able to reach these bolt holes. So, and I have not had the table on before, so there's going to be a little bit more prep in that. So give me just a second here. Okay, so here's the table that I made. And it's tight fit. As you can see, of course we want it to be tight fit. I think my best bet is going to be clamp a long straight board on here and then clamp this to it or something. Okay, so I used the sliding bar, the bar that goes on here, and clamped it on this end of the table saw and then clamped the thing to it. Now I know it's nice and flat and straight. And on the back side, it's clamps to the, with C-clamps to the rail back there. I'm using this just to make sure it's straight across there. So now I can just drill it in place. I don't have to mark stuff. That's good. I like that better. Get the bandsaw out of the way there. And there we go. Now I got to do the same on the back side.
Gonna have to hope that's good enough. I bet it is.
And then next thing is to put this onto here. get these clamps out of the way. Okay, so in my particular case, I do not need this. This normally rides on this rail, but as you will see when I do this, it doesn't reach. This saw's is wider than a regular Delta. So, what I'm going to do, let me make sure you're in the, let's bring you up there a little closer. Okay, so what I'm going to do is remove it like so. Okay, and then that leaves this metal pad, which probably wouldn't hurt my cast iron top, but it probably would wear out on the wood if I'm cutting much out there, which I normally don't. But anyway, I don't cut a lot of stuff this wide. But I don't want it to scratch up my top. So, to the rescue is Gorilla Tape. And I'm going to put 2 layers of Gorilla Tape on there, if I can just keep it from sticking to itself. And Gorilla Tape has good wear properties, so it's not your average duct tape, so to speak. Now that will rub on my cast iron and not that metal. And voila, it is connected. So, I've already lined up this fence to my table, but since I've taken these rails off, I better double check it. So give me just a second and we'll show you how that gets done. Okay. So, personally, I'd love to have a dial caliper that fits into the thing, and I just haven't, I don't use them often enough to like justify the expense. So what I do is set myself to 2 inches to the miter slot, and then check both sides. And in this case, it stayed 2 inches, and we're good to go. So I don't have to adjust it. If I did have to adjust it, it'll say I needed to go that way. Then there are 2 screws down here on the front side of this, and you adjust it and that moves these pads. So if you were wanting to go that way, you would actually adjust the screw over here on this side, over here, and push it in, and that would make that go that way. So it's the opposite side you want it to move is where you go. Alright, the other one is making sure you're square to the bed, or to the table, and it is. I mean, then that's adjusted by these 2 right here. I didn't have to adjust that at all on this one. It was dead on when I got it, so cool. The other one that was funny was that this little drop down was on this side. And I'm like, well, I don't run the fence on that side very often. Why would I do that? Besides, that limits my width to, what, like 15 inches or so. So, yeah, I swapped the sides. You have there's holes over here where you can loosen the T-slot bolts and then slide these off and reverse them. And that's what I did. And now it fits, it works, it's straight. And this saw is a beast, man. This is probably the nicest table saw I've ever owned, as far as what it can do as far as power goes. So give me a second, we'll just shove a piece of wood through it as fast as we can and see what it does, right? Here we go, hold on. So there's the housing back on it, the motor cover. Decided I'd show you that. I had to put that on real quick before I made a cut. And we'll get up here. We should get a little closer to the blade. And here we go. This is 3/4 inch oak. And I can get, because of this, I can get 2 inches out of it. So I'm going to rip it off at 2 inches and call it good. about as fast as I can push it through there for you. And actually doesn't leave too bad of a finish. It's a little lining when I push that fast, of course, but then this blade is not the greatest. This is actually a 10-inch blade, by the way. I've got a 1-inch 60-tooth blade on there, which is not really a ripping blade, so still, this thing's a beast compared to anything I've owned before. I've used saws with this kind of power, never owned one, so that's the new part. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you the next time. Bye.